gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now.
Welcome, everybody, to the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. My name is Dave Drew. This is my partner, Chops. We're talking all things combat sports. Today, we'll be previewing a little bit of UFC 314 coming up this weekend and some great boxing action coming up. Chops, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm real good. It's a beautiful thing. Was, 70, 72, 73 here today in ATL in Georgia, so that was always a good thing. Always a good thing.
Cool, because if you divide that in half, that's what it was here. I woke up with snow on the ground, too.
And here's the craziness, right? Here's the craziness. You know, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I used to love, I've told you about how I love cold weather. So I'm debating whether I'm going to go home or not to Pennsylvania for Easter. So I told my wife, it's going to come down to weather. It really is, just being honest with you. It's going to come down to weather. So it's been 65, 70, almost high. I mean, nice here all week. I wake up Monday. Now I'm in a group text with like 4 or 5 other guys. We're all over 50, making sure we're keeping each other in line with our lifting and getting our cardio in and everything have you, right? So my buddy from back home, Morlaki, one of the Italian guys I told you from neighborhood I'm with, right? Mm-hmm. He sends, he is the first one normally to hit the gym because he walks in there at about 6:30 a.m., right? So he's normally the first one. So he's normally the first one that sends the video. And that video, again, those videos are what keeps us going in our motivation. He sends the video. And like you said, there's snow on the ground. Yeah. The crazy part is his wife, who called me Sunday night. I didn't answer. She called my wife. He and I are literally like brothers. His son calls me unc. I call his son nephew, whatever have you. So she calls and says, "You guys coming home? We're coming home for Easter, whatever have you." Said, "I'm not sure," because the last couple of times we went home for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for Halloween, it was decent for PA Detroit weather. And then we get home, out of the blue, it starts snowing. So literally, when we talked to her on Sunday, she said, "Well, it was a nice day today. It's been nice last couple of days." Wake up Monday morning and it's snowing. It's almost like Mother Nature knew. You even talked about coming home and we're going to bring snow. And the crazy part is, when I didn't answer the phone, she ended up calling, like I said, she called my wife. So her and my wife were talking, they're FaceTiming. And my wife says, "Well, we're not sure because the last few times," now my wife says it's Sunday. The last few times we even talked about coming home, Mother Nature had, and made it miserable for us in the snow because I don't like the cold weather now. Sure as I'm sitting here, we wake up Monday and I see that video that it is snowing. That's crazy, man. It's ridiculous. I don't see, and I know that that's why I grew up. And like I said, I loved it. Now I say to my parents all the time, I don't understand why anybody lives in this. When you're they have the money, the financial means, they can do whatever they want, live wherever they want. They go on multiple cruise vacations a year. Why do you stay in Pennsylvania? And my dad says, "We're retired. I don't have to get up and go out at 7 a.m. if I don't want to." You know what I mean? Which is true. Mm-hmm. But my mother hates being in the house, right? Even if she's home, you'll see her out on the porch, messing in the garden. My mother, and on my mother's side, it was a trick. They can't sit still. Okay. Like literally. My mother was retired. I mean, she's been retired now, but I mean, she was in her 60s at the time. Now my mother's early 70s, but she was in the 60s at the time. And in 1 year, without a job, now mind you, my hometown is only 5,000 people. There's less than 5,100 people. In 1 year, I want to say it was 2018, 2019, not that long ago, my mother put on over 15,000 miles in 1 year. On a car. That's it. You got Drew. She has nowhere to be. My father will say it. He did it. Now it's different. But even before like the smartphones, my dad didn't have a clock. He had a big clock in the kitchen or in the living room, but he didn't have an alarm clock. And I was like, "Dad, I was home one day and was going to want to get up early to go fish." I said, "Do you have an alarm clock?" He's like, "No." I said, "You don't have an alarm?" He said, "Michael, what do I need an alarm clock for? I don't need to get," and I thought about it. That's crazy. You know what I mean? But like, they're retired. They don't have to go out. So he said, "I don't have to be out there early, 6 to 7 in the morning, scraping windows. I don't have to go outside until it's later. I got the remote starting the car. The car is warm when I go out." And I said, "Dad, I get it. I understand why you're saying it, but I still, man, I can't do it. That I do not. I hate the cold weather. It does not hit me like it used to, man. Not at all."
It's tough. It's tough.
Man, and you're in Detroit too?
Mhm.
Whoo, man.
Yep. Before we jump into the worst weather I had was when I was in Massachusetts. Check it out. It was the day before Halloween, October 30th. We got 21 inches of snow out of the blue. Just crushed us. It was the weirdest thing. And then for most of the balance of that year, all the way through Christmas, we really didn't get any snow. And then come late January, early February, we just got smoked.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. It was the weirdest winter. I forget if that was 2010 or 2011, one of the two. Yeah, and it was just insane how much snow we got on October 30th to get over almost 2 feet of snow. And it's not like it's not like we're in Alaska or something. It's Massachusetts. Same weather as Detroit.
That is crazy. That's crazy. Man, so were you living in Massachusetts at the time, or were you just there visiting or work related? Oh,
we lived there for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years.
How old were you? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I was between 36 and 40.
So what brought you to Detroit? I mean, what brought you to Detroit?
Well, I was born and raised here, and then we left in 2009. My job took me to Tennessee, and then we were there just over a year, and then that fell through because the economy was just garbage. So we're closing up. But then I ended up in Massachusetts working at Frito-Lay out there in Connecticut. Actually, I lived in Massachusetts, worked in Connecticut. Was there for 4 years, and then it was just time to come home because things got better. The job market loosened up big time, so we took our time. We got back, and we haven't really thought much about leaving at this point.
Is your wife the missus from Detroit area too?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Now, did you guys know each other growing up or in high school, or you met way after? Okay.
No, we met way after. Yeah, way after. So one of those things. Man. Life.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it now. We're going to be talking about some UFC action here, chaps. UFC 314 coming up. Talk about a couple fights you're interested in.
Man, honestly, normally, with us, we'll go main card, the main event, maybe the co-main event. But this entire card, 314, I got to give Dana credit, and I'm expecting this is what Dana and Turk's Boxing League is going to be like. This entire main card from top to bottom is 6 fights, 6 fights, and they're all pretty good, man. They're all good, right? I'm going to start off from the first one to the main event. Real quick, we got Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. 205. Krylov is on a 3-fight win streak, right? Your boy Reyes is on a 2-fight win streak. Dominic Reyes, whether he wins or loses, he's going to bring it. Nikita, he brings it. So that at 205 should be a pretty good one. I'd expect people, if you're a combat sports fan, this is one you want to see, right? This is definitely one we're going to see. Then we got Patricio Pitbull going against Yair Rodriguez. Pitbull, now here's the issue. Pitbull's 37, Rodriguez is only 32. In combat sports, 32 maybe on this side a little bit over prime, but I'd say from 28 to about 31, 32 is prime years for your career, somewhere around in there. But so he's not Yair Rodriguez nowhere is past his prime. But Pitbull is 37. He's one and one in his last 2 fights. Now he's also coming over from Bellator. He was a Bellator champ for a while. But with a common opponent, one of the common opponents, Span, Yair beat him. And I want to say Patricio lost. And Dana doesn't give anybody, he has in the past some guys, some easy ones when you come over, but he doesn't give any easy fights. And this one is not going to be easy for Pitbull. And it's because of the Pitbull, his style, it's going to be tough for Rodriguez. But Yair is so athletic. And he does a lot of spin kicks, and they're always accurate with his strikes. So that also, because Pitbull has been a champ for so long, but age, Father Time undefeated. Yair is also on a 2-fight win streak. He's got age on his side. He's got speed on his side. That's going to be a good one. That to me is also going to be a real good one. Now you got Bryce Mitchell versus Jan Silva, right? And with that one, Silva is on a 5-fight win streak. It's impressive, though. It's impressive. Bryce Mitchell, he is a fan favorite, or he was a fan favorite because he always came to bring it, whatever have you. Now he's been in the media last couple days saying some things that, well, not the last couple days, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, he stood by it on a podcast that Hitler was a good man. He thought Hitler, he did his research. He thought Hitler was a good man. Of course, Dana White come out and said that's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Yep.
And he stood on business. Bryce Mitchell said, I teach my kids what I want to teach. And he is big into religion, but he says a lot of things that but he's in this, he'll say some things. He does not believe in gay marriage or gays in exist. I don't want to say gays in existence at all, but he's a very big opponent of gays in their lifestyle, right? So people may tune in to see him win because they want to cheer for that and they love him and that's the way they stand. But you're also going to see a lot of people that want to cheer and to see him get punched in the mouth. And Silva's a great fighter. Silva's a great fighter.
A UFC fight or an election? I'm just curious.
But see, that's exactly, and that's the crazy part. But because he has a lot of people that back him as well, people are going to tune in and see him watch or to see him get punched in the face. And I'm interested to see what kind of camp he has because I'd like to know how much mental he was able to put into this or how much mental was pushed aside because he had these other things going on, whatever have you. Then we got Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, right? Paddy to Batty. This is going to be a good one. The problem is Chandler's 38, right? Again, he's old. He's 38, right? He is on a 2-fight losing streak, Chandler, and he's 1-3 in his last 4. Now, again, he's lost to Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is no joke. Yeah. He's lost to Dustin Poirier. Again, no joke.
We know about
and
him.
He's lost to Justin Gaethje. That's cream of the crop. That is cream of the crop at 170. You don't get much better than that at the 170 level. You know what I mean? So having said, 155 or 170, I believe 170, right? So you'll have that. Now your boy Paddy, since he has been, no, they are 155. I'm sorry, that was on. They are 155. When you see Chandler, the way he's built, he looks like he's much bigger. He might walk around at 175, 180, but he gets down, he's young. So Paddy Pimblett is an exciting fighter. He's on a 6-fight win streak. He has not lost since he's been in the UFC, but he's not fought anybody to the caliber of Chandler.
Okay.
Chandler's one win in that 3-1 was that devastating knockout against Tony Ferguson. Now, Tony Ferguson is not the Tony Ferguson of past, but it was an impressive win. It's going to be interesting because he's not fought anybody of Chandler's caliber. Chandler's been in there with competition. Chandler's not going to just give this. He's not going to go in and say, I'm going to let this young cat beat me. I'm going to go in and let this young cat who's on the road, this young cat a fan favorite, this young cat who gets people hyped, I'm not going to just go out and give it to him. So I'm interested to see, will youth be served or will experience win out? You know what I mean? I'm really interested in seeing that. Now, Chandler's there have been people that pointed out he has a couple fights where he's eye poked. Is it on purpose? Is it not? Been fights where he stuck his hand in the gloves, cheated a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a small few that say that, but hey, it's been out there and it's been accused. But this is going to be a good fight. All three of them so far that I went through are going to be good fights, man. Regardless, now age is not on a lot of these guys' sides, but they're still veterans and they know a lot. So I'm interested to see how that goes. And then, man, for the main event, you got Volk and Lopes right now. With this, Volkanovski and Diego Lopes, are doing this because Topuria relinquished the belt. He relinquished the 150 or the 145 belt, and he's going up. He says he's going up to 155 because he was having a hard time making weight. You and I spoke about him a while ago when he ended up winning the belt against Volkanovski, that Topuria has said, I don't know if I want this as much. I don't need fighting. So I don't know if it was hard for him to get 150 to 145 because he doesn't take training as serious, because he's a hell of a talent. Topuria is a hell of a talent. But in this one, you got your boy Diego Lopes, who's on a 4 or 5 fight win streak, and he brings it. He's high velocity. Volkanovski, high velocity. You know what I mean? So I don't think Volkanovski, I don't think he's fought anything but main events and for belts for like his last 8-10 fights, something crazy like that. Something crazy. Now, again, you've got Volk, who is 36, 37, where you have Lopes, who is a bit younger. He's 30. So, of course, the great ones in this one, Volk, Chandler, they're older. You know, Pitbull, the guys that are getting them are still in the cusp of, or still in somewhere relative of their prime, where they're getting guys who are past their primes. Still hella fighters, still great, but it's going to be, it's rough. Now, the interesting to see, they both wrestle pretty good. They both strike well. And this is going to be a good ass fight, man. So again, and I'm not picking a winner on any of these, only because I am watching all these fights as a true fan. I'm not breaking down rounds. I'm looking for this entire fight to be hype. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. So again, if any of you guys are not sure about MMA, but you want to try to get into it, this is definitely the card you want to see. Definitely the card you want to see. Because if you don't know the names, you will know after, and you'll want to see more of them.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to try and check that out myself.
Yes, absolutely. And they're in Vegas. It's in Vegas. So it's not any crazy times because they fought overseas or they fight in Dubai. So it could be a 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No, this is at 10 o'clock. It's a main event, 10 o'clock. It's pay-per-view, but it's a good one.
Awesome. It's going to be awesome to finally see that. But this is going to be pretty cool too, because I'm looking forward to this. We're going to shift over to boxing now, and we're going to talk about Boots. Ennis is getting in the ring, going to challenge Stanionis for the WBA portion of the welterweight title, and IBF. He actually it's super welterweight, and then IBF title is what Boots holds, and also the Ring Magazine Championships at stake here, Chops. This is coming up on Saturday as well. Let's break this one down, man, because Boots is 33-0. Stanionis is 15-0 himself. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Stanionis first. What are your thoughts on him?
Okay, I do like him. Right, he's 15-0.
Yep.
9 knockouts. I don't know if you call that a power puncher, but I mean, he's got knockouts. He's got some knockouts.
Got some.
I don't know if you've seen him fight much. I don't know if you've seen him fight or any of his fights.
I watched some tape leading up to this.
Yeah. Okay. He is strong. He is strong. He keeps a high guard, right? He keeps a high guard. But he's not working in behind the jab. He's not going to work in behind the jab. And if he is, and if he throws it, he's not throwing 3 popping jabs at a time and trying to work and hit you from different angles. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that.
No.
So from what I see, Stanionis, he has a belt. Great. You know what I mean? 15-0. Great. You've earned that. Does he have a loss, Stanionis?
No, he's 15-0.
Okay, 15. You're right. 15-0. 15-0.
He had a no contest.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
He, on paper, and when I say on paper, and what he's doing for 15-0, I'd expect you to be where you are for what I see in his game at 15-0. I do at 15-0. But since we're only talking about Stanionis right now, he's 15-0. He's young, you know what I mean, and he's got some power. He tries to walk you down, but there's some holes in his game. Yeah. So since we're going fighter by fighter, I am going. That's all I'm going to go on Stanionis. I'm gonna let you. What do you think about him? What have you seen? What do you see?
I agree with a lot of what you said. He's going to have to be able to put some 4-punch combinations together more frequently. He's going to have to get inside, and he's going to have to do work that way because he's at a height and significant reach disadvantage. There's a 6-inch reach disadvantage, or 68 to 74 for Ennis. So he's going to have to be able to work inside. He can do it. I don't know if he'll be able to, and that's where I'm concerned. He's going to have to find a way to get underneath, Boots' jab and be able to get inside and do some damage to the body, because otherwise, I mean, he's going to have to figure that out, in my view, from what I've seen on tape of him in 3 different fights that I watched. It's like, he's going to have to get busy. He got a nice record. The 9 knockouts. Yeah, I would say he's certainly capable of scoring a knockout, definitely. But I don't think his power is something that you necessarily fear per se. But he will definitely wear you down, and he is strong, to your point. But he's going to have to do the damage to the body, in my view.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, as of right now, as I'm looking at it, as I see it, what I see, and there's multiple ones, but on the what I'm looking at, I have it as Ennis a minus 700. Minus 115 is basically even, right?
He's a heavy favorite.
Stanionis is a plus 450, right? Now, once the leather starts flying, anything is possible. We know this, right? Absolutely. We know this. Okay. Now, at 15-0, going against a guy that's 33-0?
33-0 with 29 knockouts.
I would expect to see that if the 15-0 guy is a Mike Tyson when he was coming up, compared to a guy that's over the hill or almost a gatekeeper. Because why would you put a guy that's 15-0 against a guy that's 33-0? I asked that from Stanionis' camp, right? I asked it, and I get that you want the belt, but not all fights are good fights. You know what I'm saying? Not all fights against experienced guys are good fights for you. Because I'm telling you now, I don't like the way they do the reach advantage. I don't like that because it's across the back. However, even if you went armpit to tip of glove, Ennis has longer arms.
Oh, yeah.
Ennis has longer arms. Okay, so we know that's going to be there. Okay. Both of them, I hate to say need this fight, but Stanionis, for a young cat, maybe for his confidence, mental confidence, a true step up, how he loses, if he loses, how he wins, whatever have you. Because you never know, like I said, once the gloves start flying, leather flying, anything can happen. Okay, we're there. But Boots, for so many reasons, I understand why he's a plus or minus 700, right? He's going to hit you and then not get hit. He's going to have the angles, right? And it's funny that you talked about Stanionis working to the body, because yes, he will, to try to slow him down.
Yep.
But also on the same token, for Boots to win, not even to win this, because we said Stanionis keeps a high guard, right? High guard.
Yeah.
With his reach, with his ability, with him be able to move and get angles. I'm interested to see, will Boots take advantage of that high guard and work the body, then move and go to the old boxing, I can hit you when you can't hit me. You know what I mean? Do that. Or with Stanionis' high guard, it's also a wide guard. And he's open. He's always open for a nice uppercut. Any fighter can land an uppercut against any fighter when it's timed, when it's thrown perfectly. Ennis may not even have to truly time this uppercut perfect when he moves his hands, just perfect to catch him coming in, because we know Stanionis has to come in. You know what I mean? He has to come in. And I'll be honest with you, man. I understand, like I said, why it's minus 700. I just don't see holes in Boots' game that would allow, on paper, now we're still going on paper, that would allow Stanionis to get this win. I just don't see how he does.
Yeah, so let's shift over and let's talk about Ennis a little bit. Like you said, he does it, the reach advantage is there, certainly, and he needs to take advantage of it. I just think Boots, to me, strikes me as most of the fights I watch of him, he takes, not that he's not active in the first couple rounds, but he's finding his range with his jab, and he's just scientifically dissecting what his opponent's doing, what he's giving him, what his tendencies are. He's seeing how he reacts to the jab, how he reacts to the cross. By round 3, he starts going to work. And to me, it's like with the high guard, he's going to take advantage of the body. and he's going to bring that down, and then he's going to do his work. He's just such a scientific fighter. So, but he has to make sure that he doesn't play into, and we say this all the time, if you have a physical advantage over your opponent, don't play into their strength, don't do that. And I don't think he will, but he doesn't have to fight too cautiously, but he's got to get in and get out. Like you said, he's going to hit and then not get hit. That's what he's going to have to play that game with Stanionis, and maybe make him a little bit maybe impatient, and where he'll have to take some chances, and then he's going to get him. You got to be real patient when you're fighting Boots Ennis, but that's how I'm seeing it. But what do you think?
Okay, yeah. Now, when you talk about Ennis, right?
Yep.
When you're talking about him, and physically he has all the tools. So again, written on paper, but like you said, we talked about it mentally. What is going to happen? You know what I mean? Because wasn't it Kareem Chekahuzian, however you pronounce that name? Mm-hmm. He won that fight, and it was a rematch, and it should have been easier for him than it was, and it wasn't. That you know what I'm saying? So that to me is where Boots is like, okay, Boots, what are you doing? Because mentally, he is in Boots can't afford to come out and have, I don't want to say a humdrum performance, but he can't have a so-so performance. Even if he wins, he because you're losing more money. You know what I'm saying? You're losing more money. So you definitely don't want to, he is in Boots, definitely doesn't want to do that. Go to the body, exploit his as in, Stanionis his holes, exploit those holes. Look good how you did 4, 5, 6 fights ago when we thought he was a world beater. You know what I mean? It's interesting to see though where he is mentally and how he comes in. So now we're off paper. Now this is why they fight. You know what I mean? So mentally he's got to come in, and if he's Ennis, if he's Boots, I don't want to say a walk in the park because I don't want to belittle Stanionis' ability like that. But there's levels to this. And Stanionis is not on Boots' level.
No.
If Boots comes in there, he's not on Boots' level. That's me. What do you think about it?
Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of torn, because I would agree if we see the Boots we saw 5, 6 fights ago, yeah, this one probably ain't going the distance, but I don't know. Now Boots, he's only 27. Now Stanionis is 30, so the age difference isn't a big deal here. But Boots is a young man still. But I think I think at the very least he needs to win this impressively on the cards, and I think he will. That's my view of it. But he's fighting guys that like we talked about a lot of these guys like when you talk about like Loma and even Usyk, who they're older guys, and they've barely I don't think Loma's had 20 pro fights. They fought a ton of amateur and they start late, and seeing a lot of that. So it's really hard to gauge where these guys are at, because you got to do a hell of a lot of scouting, and you can't underestimate them based on who they fought, because they're not fighting, they haven't really turned pro until later in their career, so to speak.
I know. So
they're kind of enigmas, and you got to be careful, because they're certainly tough fighters, and they're strong. But I don't know. I think Ennis will win this fight. I think he should win this fight convincingly. It could be via a stoppage, but I'm going to lean towards a decision. But I would think and hope it would be a pretty substantial margin where he would win, like at least get an 8-4, 116, 112, at minimum. Maybe 117, 111, things like that. I really want to see that if he can't put him out. What about you?
Do you say 116, 111?
116, 112.
112. Yeah. He's definitely he definitely has to remove all doubt. Want to see him hit him with some tough shots. Put on a clinic. And I hate to say that it has to be so whitewashed like that, but he as in Boots needs to really be impressive, because he's been questioned. You know what I mean? He's been questioned. And like I said, neither one of us really see him, I hate to say having a problem, but he shouldn't. He should not have a problem with this fight. He really shouldn't. I'm going Boots. I'd like to see him knock him out 7th, 8th. You mentioned something that Boots gets the information and downloads it a la Tank Davis, right? A la Crawford.
Yeah.
But they end up getting the knockouts and getting the wins. I think his last one in that against that rematch is where he caught some flack in the fight, Avaresian, or however you pronounce it, right? Mm-hmm. That fight too, right? He caught some flack. And then you come out with the guy, a rematch, who his as in Boots' skill set was definitely significantly better.
Yeah.
And he still didn't win like he should have. So now it's even more. But again, you're getting it from guys like us who aren't stepping in the ring with guys at that level. You know what I'm saying? But so, you know, the old saying in boxing, I'll win this fight, look good in the next one. But now you got to look good to be the big money. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
There's no reason that he is in Boots shouldn't win this clear cut by at least 3-4 rounds, 3-4 good rounds. I'd like to even see a couple, at least 1-10-8. Got to knock him down at least once. Got to.
I would like to see that too. I'm a big fan of his. I mean, I really am. I mean, I want to see a great fight, but I'm a Boots fan. Now, assuming he does take this fight convincingly, what do you see on the horizon for him?
Okay, for Boots, mm-hmm. Now that's tricky, and I say that because when you look at it, right, you've got your boy Norman, who now here's the thing: does he go only after other champs, or because there's other big names in this weight class, right? You got Barrios. Now he'll beat Stanionis, right? You got Norman Jr., who just looked good, and he didn't really call out Boots. He said he's ready for whomever. You know what I'm saying? So there, between Barrios, between Norman, you have some fighters that I'd like to see Boots, you know, at least 1 or 2 more fights at 147. Now, you get this weight class at 147, you have to win those fights. I don't want to say impressive fashion, but to where people are like, yo, that was impressive. Because if he wins, but not in impressive fashion, he gets this fight. Then if he gets Barrios or he gets Norman Jr., Norman Jr. looked really good. He looked really good. Yeah. You know what I mean? He did. So having said that, you know, it would be interested who he fights. Because right now he's going to fight Stanionis at 2. Depending on who you talk to, Brian Norman or Mario Barrios will be 3 or 4. Not bad. Then you got David Evanesian. So who, you know what I'm saying? So those are decent fights right there that could be interesting for Boots Ennis before you even considered trying to move up to 154. You know what I'm saying? Because you got some cats at 154 that are like that. You know what I mean? So gotta see. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So there's some fights out there for who would you like to see? Is there anyone or any of those 3 that I mentioned, or is there someone else you're looking at totally?
Barrios does intrigue me. And then, you know, after that, I think we're going to have to see how a lot of these fight cards in the next couple months shake out. You know, because you got the Charlos back working. You know, we got those big cards in May coming up. You know,
I know. So
let's see how those shake out. And then, you know, we'll be able to see a little clearer, you know, who might be available and who's, you know, in line for that kind of a fight. Because I think Boots is definitely a main event guy. There's no question about that. And I know there's still some people are like, well, not quite yet. I'm like, nah, man.
Well, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Because if they watch his last 2 fights, you got to admit why they're saying that. Because if you'd have seen him before, you're like, oh, yeah, he's pay-per-view main event without question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he is. But we know what he is, and we're not the casual fan. So, yes, that's why we can both say he's still main draw, and he's still, you know, main event.
Absolutely. I mean, I really, his style is just, you know, you mentioned like, you know, Bud and Tank. Tank sometimes takes 4 or 5 rounds to start really going.
Yeah.
Ennis didn't wait that long. The first couple rounds, and it's like, okay, I got it. I got a plan now. But I marvel at how like I keep saying surgical. I marvel at how surgical he is. The efficiency with his punches is incredible. I don't have the percentages in front of me, unfortunately, but the eye test tells you he lands a lot of punches that he throws. He doesn't.
And Philly fighter. He's a Philly guy. You know what I mean? So he's not going to run away from anything. So yeah, man. So I'm interested to see where this goes and what the future holds for him.
So it will be fun to watch, definitely. Let's talk about fight from last week here. Fillip Hrgovic surprised me. He defeats Joyce pretty convincingly on the cards by a unanimous decision in a 10-round fight last week. Chops, I know you saw that one, and let's talk about it a little bit here. Okay. What did you think? Because I was surprised.
First off, I wish somebody his is in both of them really. But especially Joyce, and both of them, fellas, you do realize it's not against the law to move your head. It's not against the law to move your head. And I was watching some things, and I noticed it before, but when he, as in Joyce, ducks a punch, so to speak, he doesn't even get his head off the line. He leans, but only to his right. Only his right. Like a big old tree leans over in a heavy wind. Mm-hmm. He doesn't put his head off the line, keep his shoulders, and just move his head. He leans. I'm not sure why his fighter or his trainers haven't solved that for him. You know what I mean? But now here's the thing. He, as in Hrgovic, got a new camp, which I don't understand why. What is Hrgovic, 33, 34? You're not going to reinvent yourself at this age, Mm-hmm. And it's not that you saw a whole lot more from Hrgovic. Except Joyce didn't do much. He just didn't to me. He really didn't. And to me, if he'd have thrown some punches and bunches, thrown some more combinations, got his head off the freaking line, he might, because he did not hurt, but he stunned Hrgovic a couple times. Mm-hmm. But he didn't capitalize on it. He didn't jump on it. And it was, okay, this is where Joyce is going to turn around. Because Joyce at, 38, 39, he needed this more than Hrgovic. Because the heavyweight division is thin. It is thin. And when I say it's thin because your top 5, to me, on any given day, any one of them, your top 10, on any given day, any one of them can beat any one of them. And I even say that if he were to come in the right frame of mind, Anthony Joshua in his game, he's nice. Your boy Usyk just outworks everybody. Yeah. I still think he got hit by that body shot against your boy Dubois. He didn't like it. Nope. Your boy, when Thing hit him a couple times to the body, Fury when he hit him to the body, he didn't like it. So I wonder if guys are watching film on that as well. So that's why I say the heavyweight division is thin. Because when you had Tyson, Holyfield, Michael Moore, Lennox Lewis, that wasn't thin because all those guys were monsters. Here, you can be 38, 39 and get a win and be propelled in the top 10 and a championship fight. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. He needed this fight because at 39, you get this fight, you could be in line to possibly fight Usyk in the next year or two. And I say that not because you've earned it, but because, he can take it because nobody else is there. Hell, Zhang is 40, 41? And he had a shot to do something. He just ran out of gas, 2-3 weeks ago, whatever it was. So so it's not that the heavyweight is stacked and it's thin on the aspect of the talent is there. And you know what, man? I've been going back and watching some of the 90s and 80s or 70s, whatever have you. I understand we're saying in all sports the athletes are better today. They know how medicine works, how the body heals and this, that, and they have better training. But you don't see the technique from I don't care who it is. You're not seeing the technique from a lot, even Tank. Do you realize Tank had such an issue with Roach because Roach boxed. You know what I'm saying? We don't see these boxers anymore. I'm not a huge fan of Floyd, but you don't see the Floyds anymore. You're not seeing a Pacquiao's. You're not really seeing that. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing talent. Tank knocks everybody out, and it's just a matter of time. When's he going to knock you out? Crawford is dissecting you. And he's knocking you out because he's beating the body and finding your holes. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm a Benavidez fan. Benavidez is Mexican monster. He's just walking through people. He's just throwing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different. So I'm interested to see where this goes, but Joyce, you had it, man. It was there for the taking, and I can't say you didn't want it. You just didn't get it done. Didn't get it done.
It looked like he hit the wall physically.
Yes. Yeah. But I don't want to know if it was his punches, his legs, his body. He isn't Parker. He isn't Joyce, just didn't look good from the outset. He wasn't bouncing on his legs. He wasn't under his legs. He wasn't where his legs were. It just didn't look good. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think you're 100% right. So I don't know what the future holds for him.
Here's the thing, big dog.
It's helped Hrgovic very much.
No. At heavyweight, you put your hand, you got about 10, 12 of them. Put your hand in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Who you pull out is who you pull out. I'd like to see Bacoli fight. Hated he took that fight on 2 days, 2-3 days notice.
Yeah.
But you put him in there with whoever else, the other top heavy, Dubois. Dubois likes to stand there and he'll get hit. You let by Bacoli, that's curtains. You know what I'm saying? And Bacoli's fighting at 300 pounds. When you had Lewis, when you had Tyson, when you had Holyfield, George was 260, 270?
Mm-hmm.
But he had done that for so long. You couldn't have a guy fighting back then in the 70s, 80s, 90s at 350. You couldn't do that.
No.
Because you had to have a toolbox in. You don't now.
The only one was Valuev, but he was like 6'9".
Yeah. And he didn't have a belly, though. He still carried 6'9". He was a big dude.
Yeah. And so, I agree with you. But, it was a disappointing fight in my view. And it also was, it's kind of disappointing, in terms of how the fight went. But also, I mean, Joe Joyce is still a name, and I really wanted to see him at least keep his name in the mix. And I think this fight really significantly set him back, considering his
without question.
So we shall see. Let's talk about Tim Tszyu with his TKO in the fourth round as Joey Spencer's corner threw in the towel, so he gets the TKO in the fourth round. Your thoughts on the fight? I don't think either of us were surprised at the result, but what did you think of Tszyu's performance?
He did what he needed to do. Against Murdalayev. Is that how you pronounce Murdalayev?
Mm-hmm.
No, Bakram. Who did he fight? Who did he fight that he lost to after Fundora?
Oh, and I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
He got beat up.
His team did him a disservice when they fought Murdalayev. And the reason I say that was because if you had known this guy was a killer, if you had known this guy had some power, you, as in Tszyu, would not have had the game plan to just walk in on him. You wouldn't have done that. And that's what he did. So as much of a disservice as they did for – now, I would almost say on short notice they did him a disservice taking the fight against Fundora. However, with Fundora, he likes fighting close, this, that, and whatever. Maybe you thought he likes fighting close. Tszyu's a hard puncher. He's got a lot of body to hit. There's a chance for us to do something. Or, you know what I'm saying? But that was a good fight. And who knows, without that cut, maybe Tszyu gets that fight.
It's possible.
So, yes. But this, with the Murdalayev, his camp did him no favors. In this one, though, his camp was right on the picking. Because remember, what was it, Prime, when they came out, PBC, whoever it was, they had Spencer's like, no, just being honest with you, the next white hype. We need an American white guy to, you know what I mean? But he just didn't pan out. So he still had the people behind him, still hoping he could do well, still, trying to bring it and give it as good as he got. But talent-wise, he just wasn't on Tszyu's level. And that's what I said, it only took him and he is in Spencer, never even really looked like he was in the fight. I mean, Tszyu won the first round, and he won all of them to me. You know what I mean? So Tszyu did what we expected.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, Joey Spencer started out really well. I mean, he's from Linden, Michigan, up here, so I mean, I certainly wanted to see him do well. But I'm not going to kid myself either. I mean, he's a good fighter, but not a great fighter. He's a good fighter.
And this was a huge step up in opponents for Spencer. And young man took it. He took the fight. He did what you know what I mean? So it was a huge fight for him. But I think Tszyu's team did what they were supposed to with picking this guy.
Yeah. So after the fight, Tim had some things to say, and he called out Keith one time Thurman. What were your thoughts on that? And is that a fight you'd like to see? That's the question.
Yes, I'd like to see it. Here's my problem. Thurman is never going to get his just dues, even in the boxing world, because we all know, boxing fans know he's got talent. Oh, yeah. And Thurman could have won some belts. He just took too time of a long layoff between fights. I don't know what's up with that, right? Now, he and Tszyu were supposed to fight in 2024, weren't they? Or something like that, and they got called off, or somebody got hurt or something like that. So,
I guess Thurman did, actually.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. I understand you want to get your get back, right, and beat Thurman, because Thurman had an impressive win. But Thurman, the guy that Thurman beat, probably couldn't beat Spencer, who Tszyu just beat, right? I don't think it would have been that truly as a pick 'em. You're not going in saying, oh, neither one's out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They were both guys you take. In Tszyu's case, you take Spencer for a comeback fight. I need the win. And Thurman, you took this fight because he's young, he's strong, but he didn't have your skill set. You know what I mean? So we're there. But Tszyu, this is a lose-lose for him. To me, it is, and here's why. Here's why. Okay. Thurman has been out for over 2 years, whatever. He had this fight, whatever have you. So if you win, okay, you beat a guy who has all the potential, but Thurman's 36, 37, who's fought once, now twice in the last 2 or 3 years, 3 years plus, and you lost, Tszyu, or you won. But you beat a guy that the all those negative knocks going to be. Yeah. And if it's not in spectacular fashion, those knocks are even going to be greater, okay? So now, because now Tszyu would have been in I understand it was a short camp, but you took the fight against Fortendora, you lost. You had to fight against Merlaev, you lost. You fought in the comeback, a hand-picked guy, which you knew you'd win, and you win. Now another guy with some talent, Thurman, you lost. So you're 1-3 over your last one, right? And now also to mention, Thurman's not even in the top 10. I think you get better tune-up fights. And when I say tune-up fights, guys that are decent in name but don't have Thurman's skill set. Mm-hmm. Because you're really, I think Tszyu is risking a lot in this fight, man. I don't see a win for him. I really don't. Unless he ends up beating your boy, if they get it signed and he beats Thurman, gotta beat him 115, 113, 116, 112. Let it be in spectacular fashion, or get the knockout. I think the only guy to ever knock Thurman out was who? Our boy.
Well, Pacquiao.
Yeah, I think Manny might be okay. Dude, I don't know if you're Tszyu. Should you have called out, get another tune-up fight, somebody who's promising but you can beat, then go back after Fundora, go back after Murtazaev. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because both of those guys are losses. Both of those guys have belts, right? But and there's money in those fights. For me and you, if they don't fight that fight, in Tszyu's what? UK, right? He's a UK guy. Is Tszyu
I see.
Because if they don't fight in his land, his country, I don't see it being big money. I really don't. You know what I mean? So the money's not there. It's just a lose-lose for me if he fights Thurman, unless he can get him in there and knock him out. Which I'm not saying he can't, because anybody can get hit. That the human jaw is not meant to be hit like that. No. I just don't see him getting that knockout. Not on Thurman. Thurman's nice, man. Thurman's toolbox is deep.
Yeah, I like Keith Thurman a lot. They were smart to take good tune-up fights each. I want to see it too. I agree, and I also agree. I don't see apples to apples, A game to A game. Keith Thurman's going to win this fight. I think Tszyu's tough enough that he might be able to outlast, but Thurman's got some power, man. I mean, and he's got length. He's got length for his size. And that's
okay. So if they're fighting tomorrow, if they were fighting tomorrow, you'd go with Tszyu.
No, I go with Thurman. Okay.
Because Thurman has power. Do you think he has as much power as Tszyu? I think he has more tools.
I think I actually do think he has more power. Not tremendous.
It's close. It's close. Whatever you say, yeah. And Thurman's fresher. Thurman is fresher.
At the very least, it's a push. And we've seen holes in Tszyu's game over the last couple fights. Obviously the Spencer fight wasn't one, but the other two, we saw some holes. And I know the Fundora fight took on short notice, but nonetheless, we saw it. And Keith Thurman,
he's legit. I just hate him take so time. The layoffs kill me. They kill me.
Well, he can't afford any more of those. I mean,
no, not if he wants to take a serious run. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. If they get this fight, and Tszyu's in the top 5, he's in the top 5, right? So if they get this, Tszyu, you got to put Tszyu as a top 5 middleweight, right? Because his losses are the fun. You'd have Crawford as 1.
Are they're super light or well?
Are they fighting at 154?
Are they fighting at 154? Okay, so that'd be a junior middle. Yep.
So at 154,
junior middle. Yep.
He hasn't relinquished it, so you still have Crawford is the highest 154, right? Well, you'd have to have Charlo. Okay, depending on who you talk to, Tszyu would have to be in top 5, right? Even if he's 5th, because you'd have Crawford, you'd have Fundora, and you'd have Charlo. Those are the 3 champs, right? At the middleweight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to put Bakram in there, Murtalazayev, because he beat Tszyu, and he's got a belt, doesn't he? Does he have a belt? A smaller belt? I don't know. I don't know.
I have it in front of me, so I don't know.
I know he's not. I know he's not the major, because the major were Crawford, Fundora, and Charlo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but now, if he is in Tszyu, Virgil Ortiz Jr. might have been a good one to call out rather than Thurman or Madrimov, right? That's still close to top 5. Because again, big dog, I just don't see it. I just don't see why. Or if you want to take a top 10, say somebody who cracks a top 10, and it's up to you if you want to go, who we got? Mendoza, Ramos Jr., Conwell. One of those guys has got to be, low top 10, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around in there. If you want to go maybe one of those guys, I just don't want your ego, and I don't want to say ego, but just if you'd have fought Thurman and lost and you want to run it back and you call him out, okay. But why now? He's had a 2-year layoff as in Thurman. He's not in the top 10. He's not going to propel you to a big money fight. So this on the business aspect of it, I don't get this call out. I just don't. On any aspect I get, to be honest with you, because you're a professional. So I don't even get why calling it back out. Let's finish some unsolved business. I don't even care if you guys don't like each other. There's nothing. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I personally think, I'm just guessing here, that he sees a fighter with a bigger name, certainly Keith Thurman, who's also on the bad side of 35.
Yeah.
36. Who has, to your point, been very inactive. I think he's seeing a little blood in the water and hoping against hope. I'm going to get this guy on a downside, and he's still got an excellent record, and then that'll propel me up into another fight. I don't know, because I can't think of a lot of other logic behind it. Why you would?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because the name. Now that you make me think about it, and you're always doing this. Okay, Thurman would be a nice name to have on the record. Okay, so I need you to take these 2 questions separate and distinct when you answer.
Okay.
Thurman is a nice name to have on the record. I'll give you that. However, do you think, unless he would win this fight in spectacular fashion, does it propel him to a title?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Now, but it will propel him to a top 10 guy.
Yes.
Okay. What's Tszyu's age? He's 30.
Oh, yeah. I got to.
He's still, yeah. So Tszyu is still young enough. It sucks because he was on a two fight skid, though.
Yeah, he's 30.
He's 30. So now that you said it, to have that name Thurman on the resume makes sense. And it could propel. You get that, then you call out, like I said, Mendoza, Ramos Jr., Conwell. You could call out one of those guys. Then if you get that, then I'm coming back for this rematch with Murtazaev or Fundora, who's ever built you want to try to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think he looked a lot better against Fundora, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now,
was when he took short notice.
But then that begs the question: was it him or was it Fundora? And I say that was a Fundora because Fundora was his basically tailor-made for Tszyu. Doesn't use his length, likes to fight in close, doesn't use real estate, doesn't move a lot. He's there to be hit, right? That's what Tszyu needs. So, because once he fought Bakram, Murtazaev definitely used the ring. He definitely used his jab. He let it be known. No, big dog. This ain't for free. You just don't come on in. You know what I mean? So the question now would be, if you are Tszyu, and I do think the Fundora fight would bring more money because Fundora is a bigger name, I think, than Murtazaev. Yeah. But Murtazaev, you get that get back. You know what I mean? So either way, I'd be like, see it. So who would you? Are you happy with the call out of Thurman? Well, we are. That's not fair. We both are fight fans because we want to see that fight.
Yeah, you answered the question right.
Nobody's running.
Oh, as fight fans, it's going to be an excellent fight. As far as strategically for Tim Tszyu's career, that's where we're like,
I know. I know.
Yeah, it's now on Keith Thurman's end of it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a win-win.
Heck
it's
yeah.
a win-win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because if he isn't Thurman, doesn't look good, that's rough. But he could take another 1.5, 2-year layoff and come back and fight somebody just to make payday and somehow get his name back in the mix again. Or Tszyu's not going to run. Tszyu can be hit. You know, we know Tszyu can be hit. And I don't think at 154, your boy Thurman possesses a lot of power that we don't see these other guys possess. So I don't know if Tszyu's even ready for that. You know what I mean? Because Thurman has a lot of – he's got some power. I
think he's stronger than Fundora overall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think he sets up punches better than Murtazaev. So, you know, the ones you don't see are the one that hurt the most. So I'm into this because of what can happen after this fight. I'm interested because let's not forget, if Thurman goes out and wins in spectacular fashion, if Thurman goes out and gets the KO, where does this put him? Now, does this truly light a fire under a guy's ass who has the talent? And his 35 is not the same 35 as a lot of these other guys because he hasn't had the fights. He's taking time off to let that body heal. So we'll see, man. So I'm interested in this fight because, you know, me, 2 old women at Bingo, I love to see that fight. But I want to see this fight because nobody's running. But the implications after this fight, I'm ruined. I want to see that.
Yeah, because it's pretty wide open, especially if, you know, we talked a lot about Tszyu, but if Thurman wins that fight, and I think he will, what's next for him then? And that's going to be really interesting. And then, you know, we talked last, you know, a couple weeks ago, you know, Zejas and Fundora might be next. That's really interesting.
Yes, because no matter who you put in that one, there's going to be leather thrown in that one as well. And they has to get, And Fundora, old dogs, no new tricks. He's not going to change up his style, which that's perfect. That is prime picking for your boy. You know, because he loved, man,
tough cat there. That I'm looking forward to seeing that one. There were other things we wanted to get to today, but we'll table that to next week because there's a lot going on. But,
I know.
But yeah, very excited about the Boots Ennis fight coming up here. Just to, you know, just to close, I really want to see him win impressively in this one. I am a fan of Boots.
Oh yeah, absolutely too.
I want to see him win impressively. I want to see him get a big money fight. I think he's there, but he's got to show it.
Yes. And it stinks because the guys he fought weren't chumps, but there are some guys who can win and get ducked, some guys who win regardless of how they look, and people are going to talk bad about them. Mm-hmm. You do realize even the fight guys he were fighting, Boots, when they're saying he didn't look the best, these guys also still trained to beat him as well. They didn't just go and say, oh, well, let me lay down. Boots got these accolades. Boots got all the – no, they didn't do that. So to me, winning is winning. Yo, let's see. You won. I didn't think you won in spectacular fashion, but you won, so I'll put you in the next time. We'll see what goes on from there.
There you go.
We'll see.
We're going to wrap this one up. Everybody, thank you for your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget to hit the like button on the videos. Don't forget to check us out on the ESEN network every Friday night at 10 p.m. for weekly coverage of combat sports. He's Chops. I'm Drew. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HaySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.